were talking about how when you go through hard times, right? How worship is such a small thing that enters in, but it creates like this big explosion,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So like I was going through something real traumatic, like I was going through chemo, right? And I was having a really hard day. Like my body had seized up and it was just this really hard thing I was going through. And I remember laying in the hospital asking the Lord, like, Lord, please help me, come on, do something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And my phone dinged. And one of my friends texted me a worship song. And I listened to it, and then I listened to it again,
Yeah.
and it just kind of just opened up everything. And then I just started worshiping, I started praising,
Yeah.
and that thing that was on me just completely lifted.
Wow.
I know, right?
Sometimes we can make it so complicated when we're in fix. And so when I was in the ambulance last year, I'm like, why am I in here? What's the real deal? What's the real deal? And the Lord's like, you need to return to your first love.
Wow.
You need to return to your first love. Because sometimes we can get so caught up in the matrix and mechanics of life,
Yes.
doing things and not realizing we're running on fumes.
Yes.
And the simple thing of just worshiping.
Yes. Just worship.
Just worship. And you see things break off. You see your heart. You might not have realized it was hard.
I know, right? Right? You don't even see it. You don't even know it. But then when you start worshiping, this lightness comes upon you.
That's what happens. That's what happens.
I love it. I love it.
But can you imagine though? Okay, let's talk about Jehoshaphat. All right, I like that it said when he found out the news that all these ites were coming up against him, it said he was afraid.
Yeah.
I'm scared. And so he's like, okay, Lord, what we're gonna do? You know, I could tell anxiety.
Right.
We can all relate to that. Come on.
Oh, come on.
All right.
Come on. Especially in this day and time, okay?
And so one simple thing, our eyes are on you. Our eyes are on you.
That's it.
That blessed me.
I know.
In that it wasn't a plethora of words.
Yeah.
It wasn't, oh, let me do all these things, cross every T, dot every I. My eyes are on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I find myself doing that a lot now. I can feel when that angst tries to come in, like, okay, first of all, I'm not gonna do it in my own strength because you're not gonna get any glory.
Right, doing it in your own strength. You are not.
Something simple as listening to a worship song.
Yeah, that's simple, right? Something small, something minute.
Small.
Right.
Something
to move the situation. And sometimes all it takes is just worship, right?
It is.
Sometimes that's all it takes is just to say, stand in it, in that moment, when you're in that thing, and just say, but God. And you start to worship. And sometimes I can't even worship with my mouth. Sometimes it just takes for me to go up and give an offering. That's all it takes. Sometimes I can't even say it. I can't even like express it, but I can express it with my gift. You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And you know, mine is giving my time.
Yes. Yes, you do that. Yes.
And in that, it takes the focus off me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you find yourself, now, isn't this funny? When someone else is having a problem, all this faith comes up, and you're speaking all this faith, and they get their breakthrough, and you leave like,
you are sad and depressed, like, oh, right?
Okay, I need mine.
Come on, where mine at, Lord? Where mine? Come on, where mine?
Well, yeah, and it's funny that how many how many of us would do this? The Lord says, okay, the strategy is, Judah, these gang members, the Crips and the Bloods are coming.
Yeah.
All right, you gonna go in front with your praise.
Oh, come on. How many of us?
That's when you have to be secure in your relationship with the Lord and trust Him and believe.
You have to. You have to have a relationship to hear. When Judah goes first, it's like, okay, Lord, I hear that. When you see things going on in the news, come on.
Yeah.
How worship has to come first.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to one of my youth and they were really depressed because they have depression and they suffer from it. And they were like, the Lord had told them to worship every morning for a month. Every morning they put on worship. Now, this person does not worship. I mean, they do not. They do not. They listen to their secular music, but they said the Lord told them that because they were such in a place of despair.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and the Lord's like, just worship, just for a month. Just put me on in the car, just for a month.
Wow.
And they said, so they did it. Like, okay, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll put it on. I'll put a little worship on. They said when that month was over, it had lifted, everything was, they didn't even know. They were like, that simple. It just took that. It just took that. Like, wow, that was nothing.
Wow.
That took nothing.
But you know, it's a statement. Praise is a statement because praise saying, I believe you.
Come on.
Praise and belief go hand in hand, right?
I believe.
I can't praise anything that I don't believe in.
Come on.
Right?
You cannot.
Okay.
You cannot.
So the Lord's like, okay, y'all praising? I got it. I got this.
I got it.
So it's like sometimes we need those little reminders just in everyday life.
Every day.
Because, you know, it just takes, you know, just a little faith. Just
a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
Just a little bit to get up and worship. Just a little bit to say, okay, God, you got it. I'm going to worship you today. I'm going to praise you today.
But is worship a feeling?
No, girl.
You got to feel like it.
No.
Yeah, you do. You got to feel like it.
No. I was telling the youth that it's not a feeling. They want to feel it. They want to feel the emotion of worship.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
That's not what it is, guys.
But you will feel different if you open up your mouth in faith and do it.
Come on. You will. Even when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Even when you're in the worst spot.
Yeah.
Even when you're in the worst spot, but you open your mouth.
Breaker comes on the scene.
Come on. What'd you say? Our mouth is a breaker?
Our mouth is a breaker.
Our mouth is a breaker. Come on. Break it open. Come on.
Break it open.
Break it open. Come on. Every day, all day.